Hi everyone, welcome back. We're going to continue on and finish off the character's legs. So I'm just going to select it and hit F to zoom in here. So what we're going to do is extrude the front part of the bottom section here out, and we're going to create a foot. And then what we'll do is make some slight adjustments to the shape. So I'm going to start off by selecting the faces on the front half of the leg here. There's nothing on the bottom selected. And I'm going to grab the Extrude tool, which in 2016 is just here. Or we can come up to Edit Mesh, then down to Extrude, just here. And what I want to do with these is basically just move them forward along the Z axis, okay? Now at the moment they're going to kind of fan out like this, which is really no good. So if I hit this little switch here, that's going to allow me to realign the handle to the grid. If I bring the grid up like that, and when I extend this now, if I drag this out, you can see that it extrudes the shape sort of as one piece along the direction of the Z axis. Okay, so I just want to bring this out sort of as long as I want the foot to be. Something like that. Now, we can do the same with the back of the foot as well if you want. This is something that's kind of optional. I don't necessarily always do it like this, but you can also kind of bring another piece out backwards a little bit if you want to. Okay, as I said, it's not really necessary, but yeah, we can kind of do that to kind of make a bigger heel section. I'm not going to do that for this particular video, but you guys can kind of play around with that shape as well. So what I want to do here is I want to bring these vertices down. So I'm going to grab Vertex Mode, and I'm going to start off by just selecting these 5 vertices, and using the Move tool, I'm just going to bring them down a little bit, like this. And I also want to take these vertices here at the back and move those down a little bit like this. And that's going to help separate out this this section of vertices just here, just so there's a bit more of a space. Okay, something along those lines. Now what we can also do is bring these down a little bit, and then this last one sort of down just a fraction. So we're just angling this off. Now we can also take this vertex here in the middle at the front and bring that up a little bit. So we end up with this angled line coming down through here. Okay. Now at the moment the foot's really thin, obviously, so we're going to fix that up in a second. What I'm going to do is use the toolbox cut, multi-cut tool. So if you hit the little toolbox button over here, you get your modeling toolkit. And what I want to do is use this multi-cut option down here, this one just here. I'm going to select these polygons just here that make the foot up. So we'll grab face mode, and I'm going to select these polygons. And this is just so the multi-cut tool will only affect these polygons and it won't accidentally cut through anything else on the leg. Okay, so what I want to do is click on multi-cut, and then I want to move, scroll down here, and we want to do a slice along plane. Now the plane that I want to slice along is basically through here. So that's going to be across the x-axis and across the y-axis. So I need to select XY just here, and that will add in this cutting plane. And all I need to do is move this along to the point where I want the cuts to occur. And I want that to be about here. This is going to be approximately where the ball of the foot would be, where the toes would bend from. Okay, something along those lines. So then I can turn the tool off, and if I now select all of these polygons just here and grab the scale tool, I can then stretch these out sideways like this. We can start to kind of create the shape of the foot. So I'll grab the move tool a little bit and I'll bring these sort of in a little bit like that. Okay. And if I grab this one here and push this backwards a little bit, like that, we start to get kind of like the big toe area is here and then the little toe is over here. So it's starting to shape the foot a little bit more. Okay. Now I want to round this out a little bit more. Okay. Especially in the heel area. So I'm going to add another cut through here so that I can sort of enlarge the bottom of the foot a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is go to Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop Tool. We'll just go to the options and double check these. It doesn't need necessarily to be specifically halfway through, but just to make it easier, I'm going to hit multiple edge loops, leave it set to 1 and just cut here. Alright, and you can see that that actually does follow the shape, so we are getting this sort of little bend, and that's because it's reading the position of this edge halfway between this flat edge and this angled edge. Okay, so with that done, I'm going to turn the tool off. I'm going to right click and select face mode, and basically I just want to select the polygons at the bottom of the foot like that, and using the scale tool I'm going to use that trick that I used on the leg to round it out. I'm going to hold down Control and then click and drag on the vertical axis handle up just a little bit, like that. And what that's doing, it's pushing the heel out, but it's also rounding the toes off as well, like that. Now, if I just go back to object mode on this, and I'm going to switch off X-ray just so we can get a bit of better look. If I press 3, you can start to see the shape we're getting for our foot. Okay, it still needs a bit of tweaking, but it's starting to get to the shape that I want. So I'll just select it and press 1 again. Alright, so I want to start stylizing this a little bit more. So I'm going to select Vertex Mode, and I'm going to grab these vertices just here. And I'm going to push these in a little bit. Something like that. Once again, you can kind of change the shape to suit, you know, how you want it to look. It doesn't have to look exactly the same as this, but, you know, this is just giving you a bit of an idea. I'm going to grab these vertices, and I want this line, this edge here, to be vertical. So I'm going to grab the scale tool. I'm going to hold down the J key on the keyboard, and then I'm going to drag this Z axis handle back towards the middle of the handle until they snap in a straight line. And that's going to give me a much better position to be able to bend the foot from if I need to. Okay, around the back here we can kind of make some adjustments here as well. I'm going to grab these 3 vertices here and I'm going to move them up a bit like that. Grab the one at the back and kind of bring that up as well. And if I pull them sort of in towards the leg just a little bit, it's going to give me a little bit more of a smoother transition at the back there. I could also as well technically maybe grab all of these. Let me grab those and then those ones as well. So that's those 6 at the back. And if I pull that up a little bit, that can help strengthen the heel a little bit more. Okay. Likewise, these 2 vertices here, this one here, and this one here, we can kind of bring those forward a little bit, just so that this line here is a little nicer. And if you want, you could also grab these and actually bring them up, and that'll kind of give us a little bit more of that shape, if you like. You know, once again, a lot of this stuff is sort of personal preference. One thing that you could do is if you bring that up like that, you could technically maybe grab all of these and actually squeeze them together to form more of a point like that, and so we start to get more of that shape. We are going to fix this issue in here in a minute, so that it doesn't kind of give us this big curve. So let's do that. I'm going to grab Insert Edge Loop again and pop it in the settings. This time I'm going to set Maintain Position to Relative Distance, and I'm going to click and drag down on one of these leg edges here, and I want this to be sort of reasonably close to the bottom, so maybe about there. And when I press 3 on the keyboard, you can see now it actually sharpens that transition in there, and you can start to see the shape we're getting. But once again, you know, this shape is completely up to you. You can adjust it how you want it to be, to whatever you see fit. So for me, I'm going to grab these vertices at the front, and I'm going to move them up, and I'm going to rotate them a little bit down like this, just to help round out that shape. And I can maybe squeeze them flat a little bit, and maybe a bit that way. So I start to get this kind of bigger toe, like that. Now, looking at the size of the leg compared to the size of the can, I might scale this up a little bit. So I'll grab these vertices here. It's always a good idea to kind of zoom back and take a quick look. So I'm just going to kind of stretch this out a bit. Make the foot a bit bigger. Something like that. Okay. So last couple of little bits and pieces that I want to do here. I need to get the bottom of the foot flat when it's on the ground. So I'm going to insert an edge loop just along the bottom of this, just above the bottom edge here, like this. So that when we smooth this off, the bottom of the foot goes more or less flat. Okay. Now, you can also help that transition by selecting all the faces on the bottom of the foot. So I'm holding Shift and tapping the full stop key, and I'll just select those two. And if you switch on Extrude and just hold down Control and drag the offset a little bit to the right, okay, that's going to add another little edge around the outside of the bottom, and that's going to give you a nice sharp sole to the foot. The other thing I want to do is get another edge just in around here on this side of the foot. So what I'm going to do here is, this can get a little bit fiddly. I'm going to use Insert Edge Loop again. Actually, there's a couple of different ways we could do this. We could use Insert Edge Loop and put an edge through here and then through here, merge the two corners here and here, and then delete the excess. That gets a bit fiddly. There is another way of doing this though. We can use the bevel tool. So I'm going to select Edge Mode. I'm going to double click here. That's going to grab those edges. And then I'll Shift and double click here. That's going to grab the ones going over the foot. Then what I can do is go to Edge, whereabouts is it? Bevel, just here. Okay, and I'm just going to apply that with the default settings. And what that'll do is split the selected edge into two pieces, okay, or two edges, like that. And what I want to do is increase the fraction value just a little bit. You can hold down Control while you're doing this, just so that the width of this row of polygons is about the same as this. Okay, so that's pretty much it. When I hit 3, what that's going to do is give me a much nicer crease in between the foot and the leg. Okay. So last couple of little bits, what I need to do is add some edges in here for the knee, just above the knee and below the knee. So I'm going to use Insert Edge Loop for that. So let's go Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop. I'm going to use Relative Distance from Edge again, and I'm going to add in an edge just below the knee, out there, and then another one just above, like that. And what we can do with these is actually rotate them around a little bit, just angle them out so that the rear is pointing down towards the back of the leg. And if you do that, what that's doing is slightly narrowing that that part of the leg. You can do the same thing over here. Just kind of angle that one down like that. And what that'll do when you smooth the object is basically give you a little knee piece that's a little bit more defined. Like that. Now at this point what I want to do is actually move the leg back a little bit with the move tool. So I'm just going to bring it back. And I'm going to sit it sort of just behind the midpoint. Okay, it doesn't have to be right in the middle. If you do want it sort of more central like that, where the leg joins is sort of in the middle, that's okay. What we would need to do though is move the foot back a little bit. So if we select the vertices in the foot and actually bring it back a little bit more like this, just so that the weight of the body is kind of centered over the feet, you can kind of do that. You could also bring the knee back a little bit as well, just so it's not, the leg isn't so bent. Okay, so something along those lines would probably work okay. Okay, so the last thing that we need to do is basically get this leg to mirror across to this side of the character. So all we need to do is basically get this leg into the position that we want it in. So for example, if you want the legs to appear pretty close together like that, then you just move it across towards the middle a bit more. Just make sure that the foot doesn't cross over the axis line here. But obviously you can also have the legs a bit further out as well, depending on the style that you want, really. So I'm going to place mine about here. I think that should be okay. And what we're going to do is use the mirror cut tool. So I'm going to pop up to the mesh menu, down to mirror cut, go to the options. Now by default, if I go to edit reset settings, these are default settings, this should work fine. By default this tool is set up so that it will mirror from the left hand side of the object to the right hand side. Okay, if you want to mirror front to back, then you would use the XY option here, and if you wanted to mirror vertically, you'd use the XZ option. But we should be able to mirror. So we'll just hit mirror cut. And the way this tool works is it places this mirror object in the scene, and it always places it right down the middle of your selection. What we need to do to mirror the leg from this side to this side is place the mirror in the middle of the grid. So we pop over to the channel box and we set the translate X to 0, like that. Now this tool does usually have several glitches. A lot of the time you might find parts of your model will vanish. Oftentimes what happens with this tool is it actually removes the material from the object, but it removes it completely. So what happens is it looks as though parts of your object get deleted, but they're still there, they just don't have any material coloring on it. So I'm going to run you through the process of how to fix that. The first thing we want to do is turn the tool off. Then we want to select the legs, and you can see they're both connected or both combined. We'll go up to Edit, Delete by Type History. What this is going to do is remove these polycut, polyunite and merge vert inputs, which have been produced to create this mirror effect. What it's going to do is embed these in the object and get rid of them as an input. So we'll just go Delete by Type History, and you can see that they disappear. That will then allow us to delete the mirror plane, which no longer is doing anything. So we'll just select the mirror and delete it. And then if you've got parts of your object missing, what we do is select the object, right click and hold, and just pop down and apply whatever material from the existing material options. Now at the moment, because this is new geometry, it's going to be Lambert 1. I will be creating a material for these in a minute. Okay, usually I would do that final step, assigning the existing material, even if you can't see any missing polygons, just to be on the safe side, because there might be polygons sort of up inside the body, for example, that might be invisible due to that issue. So just bear that in mind. Okay, I'm going to keep the legs combined like this, so they're a single selectable object. Okay, and you can see there we've got those little legs. So that's what our character's looking like at the moment. At this point, I will add a new material to them, just so we've got another material that we can use later on when we do the arms. So I'm going to select the object. We'll right-click on them and go down to Assign Favorite Material. I'm going to use a Lambert, but if you wanted a blin, like a shiny surface, you can use a blin. I'm going to go with a Lambert though, and I'm just going to call this limb color. In fact, I'll just call it limb space black shader, like that, and then change the color. In my case, I'm going to change this to black. Now, for those of you who are doing, you know, let's say you're doing like a Fanta can, for example, and you might want like orange legs, then, you know, by all means change this to, you know, like an orange color. It doesn't necessarily have to be black. I like using black because it's neutral. Okay, it's like a neutral color in the grand scheme of things. If I switch off my default material button here, okay, you can see there that it's producing that orange color. But you know, for me, if I go with a black color, when this renders, let me just do a quick test render here. When this renders, it'll have these nice little black legs, which contrast against the rest of the body. Okay, so you can see that there. Because there's really no black on this can anywhere, they kind of act as a nice little offset contrasting color, which should work quite well. But as I said, you know, you can change your color to suit whatever you think is going to be maybe more suitable for your design. Okay, but you can see the way that that's rendering there. Okay, cool. I'm going to leave this video here. Don't forget to save your file. So I'm just going to hit Control S and just continue. In the next video, we'll build some arms, and then basically we can get down to actually creating our the start of our rig, which will be the skeleton. So I'll see you then.